Hello everyone, once again. I had forgotten to take my eye drops before the stream, so I'm going to do that real quick. 1 second. God, that's hard to squeeze out. Okay, we're good. Hi. How's the audio, by the way? I made some changes, added an equalizer onto it. See if that helped. No, I'm crying. Okay. Hi. Sorry. I was in a bit of a rush to get started, so I'm a little bit discombobulated. Birdie, hello. How are you doing? How is your health? I see you've been ailing a bit. Regen, hello. How are you as well? Luna, hello. Porkerage, hello. How is it going? No, I'm hungry and I want cookies, says Imperial Young. They are very, very wonderful, yeah. I made them for the first time the other day. I posted a picture of them in the Discord. I never made them before, but yeah, they are so nice. They're like the softest cookies that you can get. Really nice texture. Kind of retains the moisture as well, because pretty much anything with cream cheese baked into it holds moisture very well. Hello, Annie made it 21. How's it going? Loki forgot this was happening because I just finished watching a podcast. Yep, as you can tell, this is not Tuesday, because it's Tuesday. I had some family stuff going on, so didn't really have time to fit in a stream with baking and all that in between it, so sorry about this being on another day. However, hopefully we can still have some Friday fun. I don't fucking know. Yeah, I had another video playing and was like, why is it suddenly jazzy music? It doesn't fit at all. What was the video, out of curiosity, that made it so not fitting? Everyone in chat will receive a cookie, right? That's how this works. I will send me a stamped addressed envelope and I will send you one via DHL. Did a test run early in the week. I'm excited to have more. Yes, they are very, very nice. What's this? Oh, my phone. Yeah, they are wonderful. It's kind of hard to call them a cookie really, because they're more like cakey in texture than they are cookie-wise. I mean, they look like cookies and all that stuff, but yeah. And they're also super, super simple as well if you ever wanted to give these a try. Like, they are extremely simple. The only thing that will be of note with this is that we will have to let it sit in the fridge for just under an hour, because it's a very moist dough to it, so you can't really shape it when it's in a room temperature state. So we will have to kill some time here. What was that? Sumi, you generous, kind person. Thank you very much. How are you doing? Sumi gifted 5 memberships to Dorian Foggy, Wig, Ale Bermudez, Tandy, hello Tandy, Jennifer Lee. Enjoy your memberships, everyone. Enjoy the emotes that come with that. And also when the next video comes out, that will be free for all members as well. Well, it'll be not free. Videos are free anyway. Early, thank you, dear. Early and ad-free for members. Thank you very much. I forget words sometimes, it's great. Let's see. You finished your eye drop cycle recently? I hope that I get off mine someday. Like I said, I've mentioned before, I have chronic dry eye, so I need to take prescription stuff for it. And it's just ruined the powder on my face as well at the same time. That's great. Here for the cookies. I'm in it all for the cookie. That's a song, right? Except Nookie. Is that Limp Bizkit? Yeah, it's the Limp Bizkit song. I'm not ashamed. In fact, Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit is actually from North Carolina. Pride of the state. Him and Carrot Top. Is that the brand of pink frosted ones? Oh, the Toll House copycat recipe. I'm not sure. Video was Swell I and Swell L. Oh, Swell Entertainment. Oh yeah, I know Swell Entertainment. Yeah, they're pretty good. I don't know them personally, but I know their videos. I'll have to join the Discord if the recipe is there. Yeah, in fact, here is the link if you want it. I have a little shortcut thingy on my Stream Deck thing. Oh, the equals three. Yeah, same thing. I nearly fainted twice at work this week, but I'm finally free for a few days. Lack of vitamin D again, so I took them again. I'll be fine. Oh, sorry to hear. You must have been really deprived. But yeah, I need to take vitamin D more often. I always try to get into that routine of taking vitamins, but then I just drop off. I forget, I guess. Yeah. Fairy Slash, hello, how are you doing? So yeah, with this recipe, I believe I have it memorized. I may have to double check. Let me think. 210 grams of all-purpose flour, 200 grams of sugar, half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, half a brick of cream cheese, and a stick of butter. That should be everything, I think. Oven 375, bake for 10 minutes. Okay, should be good. I'm getting better at memorizing recipes these days, which is good because all the baking printouts I have are in this giant folder now. There's like a few hundred sheets of paper. They are not organized, so I don't want to really open it up and go through all of those. Do vitamins actually work? Yes, they do. Absolutely, yeah. It depends what you're ailing from, really. But you know, yeah, they can make a difference. In fact, in like the 70s, the person that sort of pioneered the whole idea of like vitamin supplements he was kind of crazy because he was like a little bit convinced that like all diseases could be cured by taking vitamin supplements, and that you just had to take like an excessive amount of them. Whereas, you know, in reality, you can't take that many vitamins at the same time. Like, it's actually really bad for you if you were to take an overdose, essentially, of vitamin tablets. But yeah, it was a wild one, that one. Look it up, there's a whole history to it. I've been deprived of vitamin D before and had to go see a doctor for it. At least I'm aware of what's wrong from time to time. Yeah, it's, you know, it's either taking the vitamins or going outdoors, which I think I should do. It was probably worse in the UK because it gets so little sunlight throughout the winter, and I also don't go out that much. I take them every day on a leap of faith. Yeah, you may as well, you know. It can't hurt, I think. I keep my multivitamins on the table where I typically eat lunch. Helps me remember, but I don't have ADHD, which I know makes it harder. It can do, yeah. I should be using like an app or something like that, but I don't. My bad, really. There's a YouTuber doctor that talks about what happens when kids get into gummy vitamins and eat them all. Is that a Chubby Emu, I think? Because he always like goes, my wife watches his stuff, and I sort of like passively watch in the background as they're on. But there are like some fascinating things on there about people that get up to all kinds of weird shit. And I'm like, ugh. What was the one we watched the other day? It wasn't a weightlifting one. It was something pretty bad.
It was whatever the latest one was.
Hmm?
It was whatever the newest one was.
Okay, yeah. He had a new video out, and the person that got into trouble there was up to some pretty gnarly stuff. Definitely don't take vitamins randomly or too many. Always ask a professional for advice and take blood tests if you really need. Most people are healthy and don't really need any vitamins. Yeah, that's true. You know, health professionals always ask like what kind of supplements you take and everything. In the US, it's especially important because the FDA does not regulate health supplements at all, which means that there is a ton of stuff out there which can be potentially very dangerous to you. So always do your research on supplements regardless of what it is, and speak to your doctor asking them whether they believe that you need it or not. We don't need any apps. Yeah, I know. I could do with it. By the way, how is the audio? I feel like my mic needs adjusting a bit. That better? Yes, presenting to the emergency room. That guy, if you ever see Chubby Emu on like Twitter or whatever he's on now, he is like a far cry from the professional that he is on his channel. Like, he's just posting weird memes all day with his face superimposed on things and stuff like that. Audio's great? Good. See, I do have a while back at this old job that I used to work at, which was a lot of customer facing stuff, I spoke to a surgeon, and out of morbid curiosity, I asked him, like, just to, you know, have some banter, I asked him, like, does he have any stories of weird cases or patients that came into his hospital? And I have one. It's a banger, but I can't tell you it because I am not kidding when I say it is grotesque. Like, it instantly, I have a strong stomach for stuff like this, but it instantly made me regret asking this question because it was that bad. So I know it's kind of a tease, but I'm being 100% genuine when I say I can't say it. It is really bad. So that's my only like story that I have of something like this, which, you know, if you ever meet me in person, I might tell you it then, but, you know, if I can't say it on YouTube at all, it's so bad. And, you know, as hints go, I guess if you're thinking something to do as a, you know, if you think it's a sex thing, you are 100% right, but it is so much worse than you are possibly imagining. All right, being dreamy as usual. Oh, stop it. Continue. Ah, hit my teeth. Left to get a Red Bull and came back to it's a sex thing. Hey, you never know what's gonna happen here. All right, so let's get started on this thing. So I wish I could remove these things because my head keeps getting, or it keeps getting in the way of my head. Let's see, this spot here is a no-go. This spot, okay. Here's a sweet spot. All right, so what we're gonna do is start off by creaming together some butter, a stick of butter, all 113 grams. And I'm gonna do half of this cream cheese bread. Let me get some paper towels just so I can keep my hands from being dirty. Because even though I enjoy baking, I do not like getting dirty hands. Butter and sugar, yeah, it's a magical combination. Yeah, a lot of cookies require you to cream together room temperature butter and sugar. I think, no, brownies don't. But yeah, room temperature butter and sugar. Usually it can be like a combination of butter, granulated sugar, and brown sugar. Or this one where it's just white sugar on its own. Because, yeah, this one is much more lighter in its flavor compared to your typical cookies. So, let me move this away a bit. One sec. Let's try to not obscure the shot. Okay, that works. Alright, so here is our half brick of cream cheese. This is regular cream cheese from Trader Joe's. Inexpensive but very nice. Okay, so actually let me remember. I think I creamed together the, yeah, I creamed the butter first and then I add the cream cheese. So I'm just going to cut about half of this brick here. And we'll do the overhead. What? Ugh. My webcam keeps doing this, where it just stays in this frozen shot. One sec. How did I remedy this last time? Oh wait, there we go. Deactivate, activate. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, so we just want about half of this brick right here. And see if I can scrape it off in one fell swoop. Almost. Don't you dare fall. Okay. Let me get a bit more for luck. Alright, let me get my paddle attachment. Now I'm using a stand mixer for this, but you absolutely do not need a stand mixer to do this recipe. You can use it, you can do it very easily if you have an electric hand whisk. And you can do it by hand technically, although I wouldn't recommend it because creaming together the cream cheese and sugar can be a bit of a task by doing it by hand. It's possible, you just got to put in a workout for it. Okay, so let me store this. I'm going to put it right back in the fridge because you can't leave cream cheese out for too long. Okay. All right. I'll clean this. I saw a YouTuber made their own cream cheese testing some viral one ingredient recipe and apparently it was very delicious. They made their own cream cheese at home from one ingredient? Ooh. Yeah, Camus is doing much better, thankfully. As my wife said, he's off his antibiotics now. He's been acting his usual annoying self. He's been more, well, his appetite has completely returned. He's turned into the greedy boy that he once was, once again. Yeah, he's 100% normal now. Where is he actually?
He's in his house.
He's in his house, okay. Let's see if we can get a candid shot of him. I forgot to check whether my OBS camera thing on my phone is working. So this might not be a thing. Come on, connect. Nope. Of course. We'll get him around later on. But yeah, I did have an asthma flare-up. And that's largely because his inhaler was a little tapped out. So yeah, we got him a new one and he's fine now. It's not a cooking/baking stream for Salari without him breaking/burning something. That was that one time. And of course, previously I shot a bunch of brown sugar in my face, but it was fine. No one remembers that. Sometimes you get really generous vets, so grateful for. Yeah, the vet was great. You know, they gave us like, you know, when, for example, the other day we had to take him in for blood work just to make sure everything was all right. And they didn't charge for the appointment itself. They charged for the blood work, but the appointment they let slide, which, you know, is really nice for them to do something like that. You know, this vet understands that we're going to be back a bunch of times with him, so at least alleviating that cost is very kind of them to do so. I got to hop to a work meeting. Happy baking. Imperial Young, thank you very much for stopping by. Hope your meeting is good. Although I assume it won't be because there has never been a good work meeting in the history of meetings. I'll be done with my antibiotics in 3 days. Hey! Antibiotics give me weird symptoms. I get anxiety from antibiotics. I don't know why. The Ferrari mixer, the sleekest of mixers. It is a wonderful mixer. This thing will outlive. This thing is so well built. It will outlive all of us. All right, let me get this turned on. It's going to be a bit of noise. Shouldn't be too bad. Oh yeah. Got to get an egg first. See that one? Yeah, that works. Let me know if there's any audio issues so I can try and, buffer the sound or something. In fact, I have a little baking hack that I can show you in a moment. Bear with me. That's a tap you hear running in the background, by the way. All the noises. All right. So, little baking hack for you here. So, room temperature eggs mix better than cold eggs. It's perfectly fine if you don't have room temperature eggs on hand, but room temperature always mixes better in with mixtures. So, if you don't, or if you aren't able to leave your eggs out long enough to reach room temperature, all you need is a bowl. What was that? Oh. Well, never mind. All you need is a bowl of room temperature water, or just a little bit above room temperature water. You let it sit in there for about a minute or so, and there you go. You got a room temperature egg. We'll let that sit for a moment, and let me scrape the sides of this just to make sure it's all getting incorporated. Then we need to measure out the sugar. I would love a KitchenAid sponsorship, but I don't think they do that kind of thing, if I'm honest. Unless you're like a really huge baker or something like that, you got like a channel with millions of subs. Like John Cannell, who is a wonderful baker, Preppy Kitchen. I highly recommend all of his recipes. Not gonna lie, a lot of things are gonna outlive me with the way I live. Yeah. All that heroin, it'll get to you eventually. Good to hear the annoying kitty is annoying once more. It's a weird thing, like, even though he annoys the hell out of us a lot of the times, like when he wants his food, when he wants attention, like, he'll jump up onto tables and start playing with stuff that he shouldn't be playing with. But it's that kind of thing that, like, you end up missing when he stops doing it, because it's like, oh, this isn't normal. So when he starts doing it again, or, if any cat starts doing it again, it feels welcome because, it had gone. It's doable at the moment this time. Okay, good. Okay, that looks good and incorporated. Just going to give it another scrape down the side. Yeah, just want to make sure that there is like no streaks of butter inside of it. Now what we're going to do is add some sugar. Or do we do something else first? No, we add sugar. Okay. So I'm just going to measure out some sugar, 200 grams of sugar. What was that?
Someone subscribed.
Oh, thank you to whomever subscribed.
Natasha Slowski.
Natasha Slowski? I don't know. For some reason I don't get those notifications up here, so my wife is giving it to me secondhand. Alright, so 200 grams of granulated white sugar. See, 205, 200. Tylowski, okay. So that's the thing, when we get notifications like that, it's not necessarily someone watching the stream, it's just if someone felt like subscribing to my channel without knowing that there's a stream live or anything. So if you're watching, thank you, Natasha. Okay, so that's 200 of the white stuff. I'm just going to dump this right in here. And mix again. While we're doing that, I'm going to measure out some flour. We will do in 210 grams of flour, all purpose. $191, 207, 208. How was that 4 grams in one thing? Okay, 210. And inside this, we're going to do half a teaspoon of baking powder, which is our rising agent. Need some more of this, I think. And half a teaspoon of salt, which I use kosher salt. Okay. Right, so I'm going to get a whisk. And just mix this around a little bit. Let me check this. Okay, I'll just whisk this and then scrape the sides off there a bit. The white stuff. You know, when we were making those cookies last time with the icing, like without the color in the icing, that's some white stuff right there. I was tempted to make a joke about it, but I felt very proud of myself because I didn't make a joke about the fact that this icing looked like a certain substance which people are capable of producing. Good on me, I grew that day. Don't do sniffs, people. Yes, it's bad. So that's the thing, even if I've never been like offered cocaine or anything like that, but even if I did, like I have enough anxiety, like why would I want to add to that shit? I need the downers, not the uppers. AP flour, watch the fluff fly. It can be dangerous stuff, yeah. But even before I started doing the stream, I managed to, as I was getting ready, get some flour on me because I have another bag of flour in the cupboard, and as soon as I moved it, all came out. Well, not all, but you know. They always tend to have like this little bit of flour that's just like sitting on the fold, and that came out. Ooh. Fun fact, Mary Berry had to deal with authorities because she was carrying baking stuff, white powder, while traveling. Oh. Poor old Mary Berry. How old was she when that happened? Mary Berry strikes me as the kind of person that's lived a life, you know? Had some adventures. So mature. Thank you very much. Very, it is brave of me. Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. I agree. Let me just scrape down these. Where is it? Scrape down these sides. Give it a bit more of a creaming. And then we're going to add the egg and some vanilla extract. And get it off this as well. Yeah, if you do use a stand mixer and you are making something, don't just let stuff sit on the side of the bowl. It is lost ingredients if you do that, and you do want absolutely every part to be incorporated into the mix. A lot of people overlook that fact. My heart would explode if I tried, probably. Honestly, that's how I feel about it too. It's like, it just doesn't seem worth it. Because like, what's the alternative? What's the alternative after that? Go find some heroin so you can calm down? Dio, hello, how are you doing? Stevio, I guess. How's it going, Dio? Margot Robbie is looking to get the rights for the Mary Berry biopic. It's not something I would have expected to hear, but okay. See, I don't know, I've watched like all of the Great British Bake Off, and I do miss Mary Berry, she was great. But you know, I do really like what they have now, like Prue Leaf is great. But yeah, Mary Berry, I don't know much about her. She's kind of an enigma. All I know is that she likes her alcohol mixed in with a lot of bakes. But Godspeed to Margot Robbie if she's able to get it. I imagine it wouldn't be hard to get. That seems like one of those roles where you're kind of like angling for an Oscar, I guess. Kind of like how Bradley Cooper tried to get an Oscar for his biopic on Leonard Bernstein. Maestro, it was called. Don't watch Maestro. It's fucking awful. 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. Mary Berry's not dead. No. Is she?
I don't think so. I feel like we would have heard about her.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, they probably would have said so on Bake Off actually if that happened. But yeah, nah, she won't be dead. She'll outlive us all, just like my stand mixer. Alright, so we're going to add this egg to it, which is now room temperature. Don't drop any shell. Okay. You know, one day what I will do is I will get because I have my webcam up here, which is for the overhead camera. However, it's on the top of a tripod, like a regular tripod. But one day I will get one of those, you know, one that's like on the snake arm kind of thing. So it's a bit more flexible, a little less intrusive, because that takes a bunch of counter space. So at least that way I'd just be able to pull it over here if I wanted to get a good shot inside there. That would be handy. Alright, so got the egg inside of there, and we need 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I will eyeball this since I know what that looks like now. 1, 2. And more mixing. This stuff is gonna look disgusting before it looks great. I'm on gigabit internet today. Lucky you. Here I am slaving away on my 20 megabytes a second upload. You were joking about that? Oh! Honestly, I genuinely believe that that was true. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, stranger things have happened. Margot Robbie, for all I know, could be a huge fan of Bake Off and a lover of, wasn't it, Mary Berry, and just wanted to tell her story. I mean, who would have thought that Bradley Cooper was a huge fan of Leonard Bernstein, and then who would have thought that it turns out that Bradley Cooper actually hates Leonard Bernstein, so he made a shitty biopic instead of a good one. Let's see. Do you know that Jack with eggs? Do you know that Jack with eggs, where you crack them by colliding two of the eggs, is like a trick thing? I wouldn't try that, because you know, trying to trick cracking one egg is one thing, but if you screw it up with two eggs, you're out two eggs. All right, that looks good. And now we're not going to be coy about this. We're just going to dump this whole flour mix inside here. So like I said, this is all-purpose flour, salt, and baking powder. Super simple. Oh, dropped a little bit of flour on the back here. Don't fall in the wrong way. There we go. Suddenly my nose is itchy. I don't know why. I feel like doing that compensation, sort of like a subconscious feeling like I've just done a bunch of blow. I don't know, it sounds fucking stupid. Strange things have happened, like people having a problem with a black lead in a Shakespeare adaptation. I mean, that shit's been going on for decades. Like, you've had like loads of like urban theaters that have produced like versions of Macbeth, like, you know, where they sort of have like a modern retelling of Macbeth, and they have like a cast of like young actors of different backgrounds and everything. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, people act like black people have only existed in the past 200 years or something like that. Is weird. I've also lost my nose ring, but I think I want a gold one this time. How do you manage to lose your nose ring? No coy Larry, only confident Larry. I try my best, I'll tell you that. Alright, now with this bit, we are not going to mix it a lot. We want to have it combined, not mixed. Combined means that as soon as you can't see separate elements of the ingredients, like for example the flour, it's ready. Do not mix anymore. If you mix more, you knock all the air out of it. So we'll mix this, and once it gets far enough, I will finish the rest by hand. So it's going to be a very short mixer. Turn it up a little bit. I'm going to scrape the flour into it. Yeah, I will just use this spatula to mix the rest once it is decently incorporated. And then we'll end up putting it in the fridge for about an hour, and then we can just chat for a bit. Okay, now we'll do the rest by hand. Move. There we go. Can use this. The humidity in this room is fairly high today, so I might have to add a touch more flour to it. Also, I'm sorry if I'm ignoring the chat right now. It's just trying to get this done first and out of the way, just so I can stuff it into the fridge. Okay. And then you make sure that you check the very bottom of it as well, just to make sure there's no loose ingredients inside of there, because when you use a stand mixer, that's where the ingredients can tend to hide. So for example, if you're making like whipped cream, you can end up making a nice whipped cream where it all looks great on the top, but then at the very bottom of it, you'll see a puddle of heavy cream just hiding there. But that should be good. Let me get this off. So yeah, as you can guess, if you look at this consistency right now, like this is our cookie dough, it's done. And as you can see, it is very drippy still. Let me move it over there a bit. Yeah, this is our consistency. So I can't roll cookie dough into balls like that. So that's why we have to put it in the fridge, just so that it can get a little bit more dense to work with. Get every little bit, because I want to make as many cookies as possible out of this. Unless, dear, would you want this? No? Are you sure? Okay. Alright, just going to try and get it into sort of a shape, just so it's easier to work with as soon as I take it out of the fridge. So if you just have it splayed out, then yeah, it can be a lot harder to work with. And we have to work with it fairly quickly because we want it to remain chilled as we are doling it into the cookie dough balls. Okay. That should be good, I reckon. Actually, scrape that last bit off. Okay. Right, so let me get some plastic wrap. And I'm going to be putting this, like I said, in the fridge for about an hour. I'm going to put it on the top shelf because that is the coldest part of the refrigerator. So it should expedite the process a bit. Come on, I absolutely hate working with plastic wrap. You last used this. What did you do to this?
It was bad when I opened it.
It's like a Rubik's Cube. Oh my god. Where does it begin? Grown-ass man struggling with some fucking plastic wrap. I hate using these teeth to cut it because they almost never work, so I just whip out the scissors. Alright. So just make sure that is good and sealed. Give it a good rub around the rim. Don't. And there we go. Top shelf of the fridge. In you go. What time is it right now? 2:54. Okay. And once again, apologies if you have a Google Assistant or an Android phone. I might trigger it right now. Hey Google, set a timer for 1 hour.
1 hour.
There we go. That is the hard part done. And it wasn't hard at all. Yeah, like I said, it's flour, granulated sugar, baking powder, salt, cream cheese, and butter. That's it. Oh, and vanilla extract. Super, super easy. What I'll do is I'll post the recipe in the Discord after I'm done with all this. And if you want to give it a try, which I highly encourage you all to give it a try, then you can give it a try. That could have been way more eloquent. Then I would like to see the results of your labor. Let's put it that way. If you want to be a bit fancier. You were supposed to get a comic pun this week? Do tell. I heard a noise outside. Is that a cat food being delivered?
Probably.
Yeah.
Litter too, so I can't carry it.
Oh, great. We just had cat food and cat litter being delivered, and that litter weighs like 50 pounds. It's fun for me. Alright, I'm gonna do a little bit of cleaning up. Shouldn't take long, just because I have like 3 things. One, actually, you know what? I can just throw all these inside the dishwasher. Alright, so while I'm doing this, hey everyone, tell me what you're doing this weekend. What plans do you have? You doing anything fun? Doing anything boring? Nothing? Do tell. Alright, let's clean. Yeah, just let me do some cleanup, just so I have some counter space free for when I'm going to do the other part of this. So bear with me for one moment. I feel like I'm not interacting that much today with the chat. I'm sorry about that. I was trying to be more efficient with my time, because sometimes when I make like really easy recipes, it takes like an hour more than it should, just because I keep letting myself get distracted. Not that you're a bad distraction. You are all a wonderful distraction. Okay. Put this here. Weighing scale. Yeah, so this one, once it's done, we'll be putting it on 2 cookie sheets. And I'm going to bake them separately, because I do not like baking 2 rows of things or 2 shelves of things at the same time when it comes to cookies, just because there's a bit of a discrepancy in the temperatures and whatnot. Once I'm done cleaning, I'm all yours. It's just one of those things. A lot of people like to leave all their cleaning till the end of baking or the end of the night. You know, they're about to go to bed, they realize they've got a bunch of stuff out there that they still need to clean. Me, I just like to get it done as soon as possible, so when I get the final product, I can just sit back, enjoy it, not have to worry about anything else. You're working on designing a mascot for me. Ooh, I'm very interested in that, because I've never had any idea about what I could have as a mascot other than my cats. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The humidity here is unbearable. Yeah, I can't stand it. Heat is one thing, humidity is another thing entirely. That's what makes it really unbearable. Like, I remember a few years back, we went to a tropical life center in England. There was this zoo that had like a bunch of tropical environments and everything, like rainforest and all that kind of stuff. And we went there in summer, and it was unbearable. Like, we were still wearing light clothes, but we just soaked through our clothing so quickly, and it was just all these other people walking around who were also soaking through their clothing. It was just a mess. It was, you know, like when you sweat so much that you just can't pay attention to anything else other than the fact that, my God, I'm so sweaty right now. That was the kind of experience it was. So even though they had some cool parrots, I could not pay attention to them. Alright, what else? Baking powder. I will not put my eye drops in the baking cupboard. I already have some white powder on my sleeve. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Alright, clean. That's it. If I need something to do in the time that I'm killing, I might, if people don't mind, change my guitar strings. Just because I've been meaning to for the longest time now, and I've never got around to it. All right, free. Okay, so what were people doing this weekend? I've missed some dry bowl bottoms before. Yeah, it's easy to overlook all the time, especially if it's, you know, something quite wet. Meringues, I've especially had moments where I've just found like a bunch of egg white just hiding at the bottom of it. The struggle's real. Cookie dough, daddy chill. It is very nice cookie dough, I will say. Very sloppy, but very nice. It's kind of closer to being like cake batter, to be honest with you, with its consistency like this. But once it firms up, it is just straightforward cookie dough, and it's great. Oh God, that's cold. Other adults struggling, a stream I relate to. It never ends. You greet Star with a cast-off pun, now where's my magic ocean? Fuck, forgot about that. I did actually mean to come up with one. I mean, is there something to do with OSHA? Like the organization of OSHA, you know, the safety and health people? I'll come up with one. I'm being busy, all right? I'll put it at the top of my priorities list. I always have super heavy shit delivered instead of buying it at the store because I have zero muscles. I feel bad for the FedEx guy who has to deliver my Costco order because it's like 99% liquids. Yeah, that, funnily enough, that was FedEx that just dropped off there. I know how you feel, yeah, because like, I've had furniture delivered before. Like, a few months back, we got a new dresser for the bedroom, and it wasn't fancy or anything. Like, it was fairly inexpensive. It wasn't made like out of really heavy woods, like, you know, mahogany or something like that. It was just particle board, but at the same time, it was heavy as hell. And I kind of wish that like I could contact them beforehand and say, hey, if you need a hand, I'll give you a hand. But yeah, they get delivered, and next thing I know, just seeing someone walk off like holding the back. I'm like, I'm sorry, I should have gone to IKEA. You all help me remember my vitamins. Thanks. You're welcome, Rowan. Hope they will help. It's admin work day today and this weekend, I guess. So setting up Subscribe Star, uploading the comic to more places, fiddling with things, etc. So more work stuff. Any fun activities? Like eating a bunch of chips. I can't think of a fun activity, that's pretty bad. Playing a video game. I want to do crafts in the tea shop. That does sound very quaint. Last time I went to a tea shop was in the UK, actually. Went to get afternoon tea with my wife in Leeds. Very nice little place. And they had macarons as well. Pretty good macarons. I'm always curious, like when you go to a place that sells macarons, whether they actually do produce them on the premises or whether they just order them in, because a lot of bakeries and like cafes, etc., will order in their macarons, and you can usually tell by how they're not very crisp on the shell of the macaron. It's not terrible, they can still be nice, but I don't know, a lot of these places sort of present it as though it is like they made it. I'm just being a snob, really, to be honest. Macarons are hard to make, I can't blame them. I just realized the tea shop thing. I'm making cookies this weekend, maybe doing crafts in a tea shop. Ooh. What are y'all's favorite tea? Actually, I want to throw myself a little tea lunch really soon. Not sure if I want to do it in the park with a book or dress the table outside home. I mean, there's places. I mean, personally, I'm such a homebody. I'd probably just do it at home and make it look nice. Plus, I'd probably want to make it myself rather than going out to get it done. But yeah, you can always like look up how to make scones. They're always wonderful to have with tea. British scones, not the North American triangle things that's loaded with sugar. British scones are wonderful. Have it with some jam, with some butter. They're really great. In fact, on YouTube, Cupcake Gemma, I think her name is, she has a really good scone recipe if you're interested. And if you want, you can put blueberries in there, raisins, chocolate chips, like all kinds of things. You just throw a bit in there and it's wonderful. Redoing the kiddos room and dealing with her lice. Oof. I was lucky as a kid, I never got lice. And I'm glad that I didn't, because whenever people at my school ended up getting lice, they would always like get a bit of a reputation for being dirty, which isn't fair because lice tend to actually target cleaner hair. But yeah, I'm glad I never got it. But God, I do not envy the kids that end up having to put up with that. I don't know what it's like these days. Maybe it's better. I hope that it's better. But back then, yeah, they were brutal. Basically, British scones sound like biscuits. They kind of are, really, to be honest with you. They're drier and they have like a greater density to them. So visually, they are very, very close to looking like biscuits. And, you know, some places have biscuits that are pretty similar to them. Like Popeyes, they have something that's close to being a scone. They don't use buttermilk inside of them, though. And they are meant to be eaten with a topping on it. If you eat a scone on its own, it is actually really dry. I wouldn't recommend it. But it works so well with like salted butter, jam, clotted cream. If you're able to get it, clotted cream is amazing. I wish that I could make it here, but you need unpasteurized cream in order to be able to make it at home, because you just put unpasteurized cream inside a 9x9 baking dish. You put it in the oven overnight at about like 150 Fahrenheit, something like that. And then after about 12 hours, you just basically scoop the scum off the top of it. It sounds awful the way I'm describing it, but it is fantastic. But yeah, you can't do it with pasteurized creams, which is unfortunate. The one time that America regulates something for health and safety purposes, it ends up biting me in the ass. I posted the flat version of the picture on self-promo. Ooh. Let me see. I don't know if I have Discord on this, or at least if I'm logged on. Let me double check. I won't be able to show it on the stream, unfortunately, since my streaming stuff is all over there. But if anyone feels like posting, well, if you want to share the image in here as well, if you've got a URL, you're more than welcome to share it in the chat if you'd like to, Annie. Do you ever make cakes? I love baking, but for some reason I have no interest in baking cakes. Cakes is one of those things, or cakes are one of those things that I want to get better at. I'm not bad at making them, but I would say as failures go, cakes and bread are like the two things that I haven't had a overwhelming success rate with. I'd probably say I'd failed probably about 10% of the time, which, you know, isn't terrible. But cakes, there's so much, the funny thing is, like, there's so much effort that goes into it and you get so much from a cake, and we don't know a ton of people around here, so we can end up in a situation when we have like a shitload of cake and no one to give it to. So that makes me tend to avoid it, because otherwise, like, the best I can do really is just like drop it off at the reception of our apartment complex and just say, here's a cake, give it to whoever. Which I don't want to give those people cake. You know, they're the ones that make us pay a shitload of money for our rent and everything. So I'm kind of bitter about them. Weird roundabout way of explaining. But yeah, I haven't made a ton of cakes. I would like to make more. My ambition, my next big baking ambition, is to make a 2-tiered cake. I don't know what flavor it would be or anything, but I have the equipment ready for it, like the stands and the, you know, base that you put on top of the bottom cake. So that will be my next attempt at something. But yeah, as things that I like to make, I'd probably say breads are at the top of my list. Like, breads are always wonderful to make. I mean, now the Magical Freelancers Guild is more like a cross between a temp agency and private detective and community center. So it's not ripe for puns, is what I'm hearing here. I'll figure something out. It's in time. My local tea shop has a local baker who makes macarons they sell. They infuse the teas into the cookies. Ooh, that does sound good. I would definitely try that. Let me see if my Discord is opened yet. Okay. Yeah, like I said, unfortunately I won't be able to pull this up on the stream, just because my setup's over there. Butter, part with a mouse, butter. I like that. I mean, I do love butter. Butter makes everything better. Yeah, lovely. Nice job. Thank you, Annie. I mean, the fight to get milk the fight to get milk to not regularly kill or poison children in the US was a hell of a thing. Yeah, they are very reluctant to make stuff healthier over here, or less dangerous. And you have to jump through way too many hoops to make that happen. And, you know, whenever you get politicians out there or people that push for safety laws and regulations over ingredients, often that's just met with pushback from politicians who say, like, well, these companies, they can regulate themselves, you know, they can be trusted to be responsible, as they're putting these horrible ingredients inside of things. Like, you know, for example, what was it, that red dye number 6, was it? That red dye number 3 or 6, what did it cause again? Was it like, I don't know, there's like red dye number 3 or 6, and it like is known to cause like health issues, but it's one of those things that's just like in loads of different things. Like anything that's like red colors, it will more than likely have red dye number 6, whatever it is, inside of it. So, but yeah, like people have been saying it should be removed for years, and there's plenty of alternatives to red food colorings, which is true. But they're just like, it's fine, don't worry about it. If your kid dies, it's probably just meant to be. That statement could be taken out of context horribly. All right, I think I'm gonna go get a quick break just to do my stretching and whatnot. We still have 40 minutes and 30 seconds until the cookies are ready to take out of the fridge. So I'm going to be back in about 4 or 5 minutes or so. I'm also going to run some ads as well. Sorry about that. But yeah, I will be right back. Stick around. We will be, I don't know. And we're back. Hello. And yes, Paul Garage, I don't know if you're still watching, but good night. Take care. Oh my god. One sec. My wife has got the stream open on her PC over there, and I just heard my voice blast back at me. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to do a question of the day. But as I said, we have 35 minutes to kill. So let's chat for a bit as I change my guitar strings because I want to be time efficient. On this lovely guitar that you may remember from my fun art versus entertainment video. Okay. Yes, if you play guitar, change your strings every now and then. It's a good habit to get into. So anyway, yeah, this weekend, I don't really have any plans myself, to be honest. There's been so much going on recently with the cat, my family back in England, my mother-in-law, she's had some issues recently going on, and yeah, it's just been non-stop lately, so plans have always sort of been at the back of my mind recently. Should do something nice though, go to a restaurant or something. Wouldn't mind getting Korean barbecue. I do love Korean barbecue. Beef bulgogi, ooh, so good. Shall I tutorialize this for you, even if you're not a guitarist? So if you want to change your guitar strings, first of all, what you need to do is loosen all of the strings completely. And then, once they're loosened, you snip them off with a pair of you snip them off with a pair of wire cutters. So I usually snip them around the 12th fret. Doesn't make a difference. I just like doing it that way. You remove the strings by pushing them through the bridge. Is it hard to change an electric? No, not at all. It's super easy. I'd say the hardest guitar type to change the strings on would be a classical, because you have to tie them in a very specific way. You have to loop around the bridge. And yeah, that one's a bit of a pain. To this day, even though like I used to work at a job where I did guitar repairs and I would change strings constantly, to this day I still am not confident about changing classical guitar strings. You can get ones that have like balls at the end though, ha-ha balls. Kind of like, it's hard to see here, but let's see if it focuses. These things right here, like there's just like a little bit at the end which stops it from slipping too far. But yeah, electric guitar strings, those are the easiest. It can also depend on the guitar that you're changing it as well, because like if you with a guitar like this, it's super easy, just because you put the string through here, over here, then into the neck, then past the neck and onto the head. But with something like, say for example, a guitar with like a tail piece on it, or even something like a Bigsby tremolo, that can make it a bit trickier. But yeah, something like this is super easy. And honestly, there's so many tutorials on YouTube that are available that do a really great job of explaining it. Yeah. And guitar strings are pretty cheap. You can get guitar strings for about $7, and those will last you quite a few months depending on how often you play. I play practically every day, and these ones still lasted me, I think, about 4 months altogether. I've gotten back into, that's true, they're braided. Yes, they are. Nylon string acoustic guitars. Also, the D string always breaks on those. Oh, and speaking of when I worked at the guitar store, it was always, we sold like individual strings as well, so people wouldn't have to buy a whole pack if they just broke one string. So they just come in and say, hey, I need a E string. And it was always, oh, so hilarious when people would come in and say, hi, I broke my G string, I need a new one, haha. It's like, okay, you're not as original as you think you are right now. I didn't say that though, I would just, be the good employee and laugh at them or with them. Sorry, this string is jammed up. Oof. Anyone hear that whoosh just now? Because that string just whipped right at me. I'm back. I've gotten back into guitar after so many years. I feel alive again. Honestly, yeah, it's I know that feeling. After I moved to America, I didn't bring a guitar with me, and you know, I was someone that used to be very, very much into playing. So, you know, after moving here, I was broke for a good while, and guitars aren't cheap, at least if you want a decent one. And then one day I just decided, you know what, I've saved up a bit of money. I should get myself another one, and I did. I've shown it a few times. It's that pink Squier Jazzmaster that I own. Both these guitars are fairly inexpensive. They look more expensive than they actually are. But yeah, once I got that and started playing again, like, it was just like falling back in love with something again. You didn't realize how much you missed it until you start doing it. Give it a nice bit of a clean. Guitar maintenance is important. Do not skip on it. Move this, get under here. I can play it, but it's been a while, so I'm getting back. Yeah, getting back into it, depending on how long it's been, can be very difficult, but you gotta keep at it. You definitely will build up that skill once again, and possibly even go beyond. Like, I'm way better than I used to be as a player now, after taking such a break. And now I generally practice for anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour per day, which, you know, for most people that's a lot, but I don't know, I find it fun. It's relaxing. Be the good employee and laugh at them. I mean, you know, if you've worked a customer service job or a customer facing job, laughing at customers is your means of survival. Can't remember whether I told this before, but when I worked at IKEA, there was a guy that came into the store, and you know, I used to work in the bedroom department, and I would put together orders for people who wanted like a wardrobe or a bed, whatever it might be, a mattress. And when they would come over, you know, I'd take all the details and everything, name, phone number, all that stuff. So one guy came over, a guy that I could best describe as aggressively German, because he had like the blonde hair, blue-eyed, he had a fanny pack on before it became like a thing to wear fanny packs again, or as we call them in the UK, a bum bag, because fanny is a different thing there. But yeah, he was very much German, and so I helped him put together his order, and then I took his name and told me his first name. I think it was like Gunther or something like that, his first name. Can't remember what it was, I'm just saying Gunther. But gave me his first name, so can I take your second name please? Or your last name, or your surname? And he starts spelling it. He doesn't say it right away, he starts spelling it. And he goes, okay, it is H-I, P-P, L-E-R. Hitler. And I said that out loud. I said, Hitler? And he immediately replies with, yes, I know. It was just one of my favorite moments from working at that place. I'm glad that he had a sense of humor about it too, but I definitely can see why he chose to spell it instead of say it, because, you know, you hear a German guy saying that the name is Hitler, you're gonna raise an eyebrow or two. Nice guy though. Alright, how is that? So I put these overhead lights on just so I can see whether there's any smears or whatnot. Hopefully that's not too bright on the camera. Okay, that's okay. I have to replace a couple of strings on my hand-me-down electrics, so I was wondering if it was more or less difficult than an acoustic. It's about the same level, to be honest with you. What kind of guitar is it? Because yeah, if it's something like a Stratocaster, easy. If it's something like a Les Paul, easy. Yeah, it all depends really. But most guitars are super easy to replace the strings on, even if it's just one string. The guitar I have right now, I borrowed from someone. I'll buy my own once I have the money. I mean, I borrowed my father-in-law's for the longest time after I moved here. In fact, yeah, it was a nylon string classical that he loaned me, which I much prefer playing electric guitar. I find it way more fun. I find it easier on the fingers. But I appreciated being able to play that. And fun fact for you, the old intro that I used to have with the jingle, the boom, 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 that thing, that, despite the fact that it sounds very electronic, was actually recorded on that classical guitar, that nylon string classical guitar. I recorded it on the microphone, of course, and then, I'm just looking for something, and then what I did is I ran it through some audio editing software, and I tried my best to make it sound like it wasn't a guitar. So that involved messing around with the compression, the equalizer. I pitch shifted it to, I think it was 4 steps above the original melody, and saved that, then put it back into the software to pitch shift it down to the original melody, so it would cause some signal decay, so make it sound a little bit unstable, a bit older. Then ran some reverb on it, put some distortion on it, made it sound nothing like the original thing. It's magic, the stuff that you can do with audio trickery. Right, what I'm doing right here, I'm just do this quickly rather than how thoroughly as I usually am. I'm using this right here. It's pretty old, it's pretty worn, but it's basically fret polish. And in essence, this is very, very, very high grit sandpaper. So even though I can easily rub it and not get any kind of abrasion on my hand, it works very well on these frets. So it's like the smoothest sandpaper you can get, and it brings out the shine of the frets. One thing that you can also do to keep it well maintained is you can use lemon oil, which you would apply on the wood parts of the fretboard, and that keeps it, basically moisturizes the wood. I would do it today, but I'm not going to, because I did it the last time I changed my strings, and you're not supposed to apply it very often, especially on this kind of wood. This is an ebony wood, which you don't want to apply too much moisture to. And Curie's here. Where is she? There she is, there. You really should just try your hand at drawing too. You'd be one of those dorks that's kind of decent at all sorts of artsy stuff. I mean, I did used to draw a lot. In fact, last time I went to the UK, my wife actually saw some of my old sketchbooks, which I thought was terrible, but she thought that there was talent there. I'm not one to blow my own trumpet, though, I won't lie. I have been meaning to get back into just sketching, though. I'm not really sure what I would like to do or what kind of things I'd like to draw. Last thing I tried was basically trying to copy the artwork of the key artist and concept artist for Final Fantasy XIV, because he does some really wonderful illustrations. But it's odd, because it's like, of all the creative endeavors that I've tried, which, you know, there has been a lot of different things, art has always been the thing I've been like weirdly the most insecure about. And, you know, if you, Birdie, as an artist, or any other artist here can attest to this, it always feels awful putting yourself out there when you just think that there's just so many other people that are better than you at it. You know, what qualifies as the best. But then again, I feel the same about YouTube videos too. Like, you know, I look at my stuff and I see like what other people are doing, and I'm just like, pfft, I can see why people wouldn't watch my stuff when this is available. Did you tell him what I said about the photo reference you sent me? The photo reference?
The headshot you took.
Oh, yeah, you said it looked like my wife sent a picture that Birdie very wonderfully turned into excellent rendition of my wife in Birdie's form, or art form. And yeah, Birdie very kindly said that the photograph that I took of my wife looked like it was done by a professional before they knew that I actually took it. But thank you, Birdie, that was a very nice compliment. I appreciated that. It's always the compliments that you don't expect that has that little bit of extra impact, you know? I felt that way about writing. Yeah, writing is, because, you know, I've had my hand in writing too, outside of doing YouTube stuff. Like, I tried writing fiction, and even though I've had some good feedback for the stuff that I've made in the past, it's always just been one of those things where it's just like, it's just hard to put yourself out there, you know? That's always the crux of it. But you know what? I will try doing more artwork. I will give it a go. It's always one of those things where you say, I'm going to do more of this, and then you never really get around to it, you know? All right, so the strings that you use, my preference for this guitar is D'Addario strings. These are my favorite brand, just because they rust far less quicker than other brands, in my experience. It depends on what you like, but D'Addario is my favorite. These are 10 gauge strings, which is a little above the standard, so they're a little bit thicker. 9 gauge are generally the string types that beginners want to use, or people at least in their, you know, earlier stages of learning. You got to, yeah, they're excellent, D'Addarios. My favorite for years. I've tried all different brands. Back when I worked at the guitar store, I just took whatever I wanted home and I didn't care. So I got to try out the variety, and I always came back to these. I even prefer them over the super fancy, super expensive, like very well coded nanotechnology strings or whatever. It's all bullshit. My subscribe star profile has been approved. Very nice. Mazel tov. Oh yeah, also recently I've only recently learned of this site, but there's a site called Buy Me a Coffee, which is kind of like Coffee, the site, K-O-F-I. So I set a profile up on Buy Me a Coffee, which is basically just like a one-time donation thing, which the link to that is in the description below, I believe. But yeah, I've never used it before. Only recently heard of it. Alright, so here is probably the tricky part of threading the strings. So you put it through the bridge, and then you have to thread it through the machine head or tuning peg, whatever you want to call it, up here. Now, my trick is, once you thread it through, the amount of slack that you should make, because you can't just put it through and then just turn it, because it'll just be way too short. You want to have, with the first string, the E string, you want to have at least 2 rotations around the peg. You can get away with 1.5, but you know, it's better to be safe. So my trick to have the right amount of slack is I hold up the string like this with my index finger. I keep holding this too, just so I can keep gauging it properly. And then I just lift my finger from the board about 3 or 4 centimeters, something like that, probably 3 centimeters. And to me, that's enough slack. Once I've done that, I pull this over here, just so I can create it, just so I can create a lock. So I bend the string of the tuning peg, just so I know exactly where I want it to be. Once it's there, Oh yeah, and also if you want to change guitar strings too, get a get a winder for the tuning peg. It just makes it so much quicker. I thought this was supposed to be a baking string. It will be again in 15 minutes. I'm considering learning how to teach guitar. I brought it up to my teacher last class. I want to pick their brain more about what goes into it. It always kind of depends on like the stage that you are yourself when it comes to teaching. Like back when I was at university, I actually did do some private teaching for guitar. But I always made it clear to people that I can't teach them the more advanced stuff. I can't get them their grading levels, which is like a thing in the UK, like there's grades 1 to 8 with any musical instrument, and you have to be qualified to be able to let someone take the test. So I just told them, like, if you want to get with the basics, if you want to learn, like, you know, your chords, open chords, barred chords, maybe some stuff to do like a little bit of basic theory, then I can help you with that. However, once you want to get to the advanced stuff, then I will have to forward you on to someone else. And generally people like that. A lot of people just want to know the basics, really. But yeah, ask them about it. I'm sure they can give you better advice than I could. But with me, you know, like I said, I was at college, so there was plenty of arseholes around there that were just looking to learn guitar so they could impress girls. Not me, though. I liked music. I can say that I've never used guitar to impress a girl, that's for sure. I made it back. I went from combining butter and sugar to guitar strings. I definitely missed a few steps. Yeah, like I said, I had to kill some time. We had an hour to kill, about 13 minutes left. And I wanted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone today, so why not? All right, so another thing, this is something that is quite important. If you want, because once you change your guitar strings, they are not going to be in tune for a good while. Like, you'll tune it up and it will just drop back down. And that's because the strings are still carrying tension in them, too much tension. So once you've got it hooked up and everything, once you've got it on there securely, and this is going to sound weird, but you want to put your hand underneath the string and give it a good tug like that. Like, you can even lift the guitar. It won't break. Be careful with the thinner strings because they can break pretty easily. But give it a good tug. Once again, out of context. And tune it up the best you can to what it is. I have my tune on this little thing here. It'll drop tuning once again once we start putting on the other strings. But yeah, and you know, you just basically rinse and repeat all the rest of it and trim the excess string off. I always hate seeing guitars that have all of the excess string left on it, like it's supposed to be cool or some shit. It's not cool, it's gross. Cat camera, yes, Curie, she's here, although she's a bit buried right now. You can see her just underneath the guitar neck. Stand up, they need to see you. Don't swipe at me.
She had a nice brushing yesterday.
She had a brushing?
Yeah.
Don't. She's getting feisty. Don't. After all I've done for you. The stardom's getting to her head, clearly. Teaching is one of the best ways to learn. Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, you can learn things from different people. It's always good to, like, just be involved in, like, learning communities when it comes to an instrument as well. That's the thing about musical instruments. You're technically never done learning. All right, once again, hold it up to about this level. There we go. Lock it in. Mad at you for being in her space even though you were there first. Firsts do not matter to cats. It's just their world regardless. But she is eyeing me up from the side right now and I feel like she wants to swipe me while I'm not looking. I don't trust you, Curie. Stop it. She's going after the cable of the mic that's just below my waist. Alright. I can finish this in time, yeah. Okay, 10 minutes, 40 seconds left. Oh yeah, when you are winding it up, you can hold the string in place here. Like you push it down with your index finger or what have you, just to make sure it doesn't go sliding around as you are winding it. Okay, pull the tension again. Speaking of cats, I drew another mascot on self-promo. Ooh, let me look it up in a moment. Same with languages, you're never done learning because language is always evolving. Yeah, that's a big one, yeah. Always those little nuances. Like I have friends whose native language isn't English, but they're great speakers, but they occasionally find there's just like a blind spot with certain words. I have one friend who actually asks me to correct him if he does get a word wrong. Which, you know, I asked him, like, does he prefer correction? Because, you know, with some non-English speakers, it kind of comes off as a bit of a dickish move just to say, like, actually, it's the wrong word that you're using there. So with this guy, I confirmed with him. I said, like, you know, if you get a word wrong, do you want me to correct it? And he said, yeah, I'd like to learn it. So we came up with that level of relationship, and he learned something new. The wonderful thing about being wrong is that you learn something new in the process. Okay, there we go, a bit of slack. It's exciting to see things getting more inclusive, but also a confusing time to be a translator. Yeah, I can imagine. I always wish that my dad taught me more Iranian, or Farsi, sorry. It was always one of those things where it's like, I know I wouldn't get much use out of it, but it would have just been nice to have under my belt, you know? Like being bilingual or multilingual is a very valuable trait in this day and age. Plus, it would have let me know if it was talking shit about me behind my back. I'm on to you, Dad. I've been learning ASL since 2018, and a few signs I learned back then are already being corrected in my current class. It varies so much by region too. Yeah, in fact, you know, ASL, American Sign Language, is drastically different from sign language in the UK. I actually went to a school that had like facilities for hearing impaired students. So we had a bunch of teachers there that knew how to do sign language. We learned some in the process, you know, just by sort of osmosis of being around them. And they gave us some lessons too. But practically like all of just like the basic words are very different in ASL. Which, you know, for something like that, for like sign language, there should, I believe, be like a universal thing. You know, sign language could technically be like numbers, I imagine. Like it can be universal. It can be read by anyone for whatever it is. But no, we had to do differences there. That's why languages are kind of like Apple products at time. They just want you to stick with the one and leave it be. All right, with the lighter gauge unwound strings, you want to have a bit more slack compared to the other one. So give it about 4 or 5 centimeters of height from the board. Same technique, you just leave a bit more height to it. So that should do. I wish my mom spoke to us in French as young'uns. Yeah, that's, you know, even like just your parents, even just a parent or parents speaking to you in another language can be helpful, because when you're, I think it's up until the age of 7, like you are just a sponge for language at that point. Like, that is the best point to learn multiple languages. But after that point, like, just something changes with the brain where it becomes harder and harder to ingest information about language. So yeah, you know, I could have learned a decent point at that part of my life when I was a kid. But yeah, I don't know, the thing is my dad was working all the time as well. Like, you know, even to this day, he admits that he probably should have spent more time with the family and all that kind of stuff, which, you know, I won't lie, is true. But what's done is done, I guess. I'm not sure I'd want to learn as a language now, though. Funny thing, maybe like Korean or Japanese, just because they seem like very interesting languages. I wouldn't get much of a chance to use them, but they just seem like interesting languages to learn. Plus, if I ever made another video in the future about Korea or Japan and I used certain words, I wouldn't get some smug bastard coming after me saying, actually, this is the wrong word that you use here, and it's clear that you use Google Translate for this. It's very disrespectful. Tug it again. Alright, I gotta do 2 strings in 4.5 minutes. There is a universal sound there. Oh, I did not know that. Is it called anything particular? I knew more Spanish back in my younger days because I had taken Spanish for years at school, and then I had to take French because my school didn't have a Spanish teacher. Oh, that sucks. See, I had kind of a similar thing in my old school, actually. Like, there were people that were learning German. It alternated depending on what year you were in. Like, for example, my year or grade, whatever you want to call it, they would learn French, or we would learn French, and the year above us and below us would learn German, and the year below them would learn French. And then suddenly, just one day, our German teacher of the school just disappeared, and we never got an explanation why. And then suddenly, like, all of these people that had been studying German for so many years were just shit out of luck, and it's like, okay, well, you're going to learn French now because we can't find a German teacher. Very well organized school. I'm not super educated, but I believe it's used in political context. It's not widely learned though. So like in like UN assemblies, that kind of thing. Because yeah, I guess that makes sense if that was a, you know, a universal one. Now, I'm always bad with these thinner strings because it has a tendency to slip a bit more, so bear with me. By the way, you can also get drill bits that do tuning peg windings, but I wouldn't recommend them because if they go too fast, you can end up breaking your string and messing up your tuners as well. Okay. Give it a tug. 2 minutes. I got this. Also, it might need a few more extra minutes inside the fridge just because, like I said, it has to be firm to be able to actually handle it. If it's not firm enough, we'll just give it like 2 or 3 more extra minutes just to make sure that I can handle it. Because yes, any baker who's worked with not very dry materials that they have to shape into something like a cookie dough ball, they will tell you it is a trial to do so. Okay. Now the E string can be a pain, the high E string, just because this one doesn't stay locked in very well, you know, when you bend it here. So let's hope for the best. Don't move. 55 seconds. I should figure out how to put like an on-screen counter or something. Not that it's a big deal. It just would be neat, I guess. Oh, shit. So it needs to be threaded over the bridge as well, like the little gap that's on the bridge. Okay. 15 seconds. Let me clean up all this shit. And then we will test our dough. I gotta make sure that I clean up every single string just because that idiot Camus might come along and try to eat steel. Stop! So you never know, he might come along and start eating steel strings. You know him. Okay, so thought I dropped one. Okay. Oh, snip this. Ta-da! And when you're done with them, just dispose of them. I don't think you can't recycle guitar strings, unfortunately. So you're just gonna have to get rid of them the not so environmentally friendly way. But yeah, that's kind of how you change a guitar string. I'll bring this back later, once it's inside the oven. The cookies, not this. Just so I can finish tuning it. Or as the British say, tuning. Also, one of these is very good since it holds the head up of the guitar. Very handy. All right. My fiance went to school with a few Mexican students who got bad grades in Spanish class because they were teaching Spain Spanish. That's rough. That's just kind of like rigging the game against them at that point. Yes, my wife does need to pick up a viola. She's a very good viola player. My wife is way more musically proficient than I am, but she went to school for it, whereas like everything I've done is self-taught. Could recycle them into a craftsway, repurpose, I suppose? Yeah, I guess you could. I'm sure there is some things out there that people have come up with. Some are more creative than me. Just make sure they're not rusty strings, because otherwise, I don't know. I feel like that's the kind of thing that could pass an infection around or two. All right, let's test me dough. I'm gonna turn on the oven to 375. Okay. Let's see, overhead. Okay, let me get a spatula real quick. Okay, there we go. Decent firm dough that feels like it can actually be pushed without sticking to anything. That's what you want. So we are all set there. So let's make some balls. Yes, you can get back into playing viola well, I think. If I can get back into playing guitar, you can get back into playing viola, dear. I would love to get a drum kit though, because I used to play drums. It was one of my favorite things to do. It would help with getting exercise because drumming is very demanding. So it was like killing multiple birds with one stone. Exercise, fun, learning something. It was great. But unfortunately, if you want a drum kit, you, one, have to pay a good amount of money for it, and two, live in a place with very understanding neighbors. Luckily, the ones I used to live next to were pretty cool. But yeah, here, I won't mind an electric kit, but we also need space for it as well. Okay. Let me take my ring off just to not get it dirty. How long did you put them in the fridge? These were just 1 hour inside the fridge. The fridge is medium setting on the temperature, but I did put it on the top shelf, which, as I mentioned earlier, is the coldest part of the fridge. So that sort of expedited the process a bit. All right. So I'm just trying to keep the ball in a form. Right, my hands are clean. They're fairly dry, so that will help, I think. Yep, good and dry. I put my acoustic down for 3 weeks and immediately regret my last class. I was so soft. It's when you're that early into learning, you can fall off fairly quickly because you haven't got like your routines built up. It can be difficult to really get back into, but that's the importance of practice, All right. So with this, actually, I'm not going to do these by hand. Well, I'm not going to do them fully by hand. What I'm going to do, I have a baking sheet here with a silicone mat on the top of it. And what I'm going to do is use this cookie scoop, which is about 2 tablespoons worth of scoop inside of it. And I'll just be scooping it up like that. I have a little bit of excess on the top of it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just take a little bit off the top. And then push it out. Form it up a little bit. In fact, I probably could stand to have a bit more there. Yeah. Form it up. And just keep it moving. If you do it slowly, it'll start sticking to your hand very quickly. Because like I said, this is cold. It needs to stay cold if it wants to keep its form. However, unlike typical cookies, once this goes into the oven and once it heats up, it doesn't spread out that much like usual cookies because, normal cookies, they tend to like melt when they're inside the oven, like they melt down and go flat. These ones, they stay very close to what their original shape is when you put them on a sheet. My greasy fingers. I tried to push the button with my knuckle there. That's how I felt after drawing for a while. Yeah, and even like when I've like tried to return to drawing things, it just feels like there's a huge hump to get over, to feel like you're in the flow of things. And like having diminished confidence in something that you used to enjoy also can have an effect on it too. Let me get some paper towels just so I can not build up too much oil on my fingers. Ironically, the Korean show I'm watching is talking about making a children's song about washing hands. That sounds delightful. I know I remember during the pandemic they were talking about like how you should wash your hands for 20 seconds, and that is a cat hair. Wonderful. Very hygienic. And they said that Happy Birthday is the ideal length, but I can't stand the Happy Birthday song. And also the chorus for Mr. Brightside by The Killers. There was a video posted by Brandon Flowers washing his hands, singing his own song. Bit arrogant, but it's a good song. So yeah, keep it moving. Don't roll it around for too long, because otherwise it will just start sticking like crazy to your hand. And we should get about 24 out of this. Acoustic is also tougher on the hand than the electric, but yeah, if you don't keep practicing, often the calluses soften. That is very true, yeah. When I returned, my mighty calluses just like disappeared, and it felt awful at first, especially if you're doing something like sliding on the guitar board, like, just doing a string slide. That felt awful, and doing things like barred chords was difficult too. But you build them back up again. I would say the number one thing that puts people off learning guitar is the fact that it hurts at the beginning. because your hands or your fingertips aren't equipped to push down on stretched out wires, essentially. So a lot of people like just say like, wow, I didn't know this would hurt so much, and they just give up because of that, which sucks. So like whenever people start playing, I always tell them, push through it. Like, you will, quicker than you think, become okay with this, and then you get to a point where it just does not hurt at all in the slightest. Like, playing guitar does not hurt my fingers at all anymore, just because they just get used to it, and your fingertips get hardened, etc., etc. Same with like other stringed instruments too. But yeah, it's one of those weird overlooked things that isn't really publicized all too well. Learning a stringed instrument actually hurts your fingers. And yes, the pandemic is still going. Yes, indeed. I always don't know how to phrase it, just like during the dark days of the pandemic.
Lockdown.
During the lockdown, yeah, I guess that's more accurate. Even though America barely locked down. Kind of miss lockdown, if I'm honest. I know it was like awful for a lot of people, but you know, there was
nice going to work with no traffic.
yeah, it made, I guess, other things easier, especially when you're a bit of a recluse as well. But it felt like, you know, there was, for every bit of, because, you know, the pandemic brought out all the shittiness in a lot of people. Like, people became selfish as fuck those people. But with all the people that were staying at home, trying to support each other and everything, there was something nice about that, something wholesome. To be honest, I think out of everything, the worst part of the pandemic was that fucking Imagine song by Gal Gadot and Friends. One of the most tone-deaf things I've ever heard in my life, and I'm not referring to the quality of the singing. Alright, I'll dry my hands off again. That's the thing, like, during the pandemic, as awful as it was to say, like, or during the lockdown, the thing that I miss the most from it is honestly just like celebrities being really cringy and tone deaf. Like, it was always fun to watch. I don't know what it was. Like Madonna in her fucking 6-figure bath with expensive bath bombs or whatever was in there, like with all the pedals and shit inside of it. And there she is talking about, like, you know, oh, this is the great equalizer. You know, we're all equal in this kind of situation, aren't we? I say from my 20-bedroom mansion. Yeah, lockdown just kind of means a period of time, not really an actual period of locking down in places. Yeah, you know, we had that mentality of like, don't go out too much, or, you know, only do things when they're absolutely necessary. Well, the people that cared had that mentality. The selfish assholes, they were just like, whatever, I'm going to the club. I've been hearing that people having a sentiment of missing lockdown. Yeah, I can't put my finger on it really. It just felt different, you know? Felt like, it felt like an interruption that was like kind of an eye-opener for a lot of people in a way. Like how vulnerable we actually are and how vulnerable certain members of our society are, and that we need to actually care about these things. So, you know, I feel like that for every awful person that the pandemic has created, it did also create more genuine, compassionate people who like went out of their way to help other people. Celebrities complaining from their backyard pools. Yeah, it was just, it's just, do you not see yourself right now? Like, hey gang, you know, I know we'll get through this. I know you lost your job and, you know, you got sick and you can't support your family in your 1-bedroom apartment where 4 of you live. But, you know, you'll get through it. Don't worry about it. I'm sure that with the power of positivity, Positivity, we'll make it through this. Don't you worry. You and me will make it through this. Because we're like on the same level, you and me now. You know, I'm struggling too. I got my mansion here. Because of lockdown, my cleaning guy can't come around anymore. I've got to clean this myself. It's awful. You know, cleaning your toilet's really bad. Am I right? Am I right? Other people, poor people? Am I right about that? You and me, buddy. Try to go at this quicker just so I can keep it soft. Okay, that is one tray done. Is it preheated? No, still preheating. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do, just to expedite things, I am going to put this batch into my regular oven, and then I will do a very small batch which I will put into my Ninja oven there. So I kind of want to see the results of doing different ones. But first, let me wash my hands. There we go, that's preheated. And also I think with the lockdown stuff as well, it was just kind of an excuse to be lazy in a lot of ways, you know, removing that obligation to do things like go out and have fun. God, that sounds depressing. Okay, let's see. No, it just feels like people like me are getting left behind. Yeah, everyone is, you know, thoroughly in that mindset that everything is over, and people who like get COVID end up just going out in the public with no mask or anything like that, thinking like, oh, it's fine. We have a vaccine for it now. I'm sure people getting the boosters. If I pass on COVID, it's just basically the same as like giving a cold to someone, which is no big deal. But you know, it is a big deal. Don't give people colds. But yeah, it's that laissez-faire attitude towards people's health. Actually, you might be surprised, a lot of celebs who have houses in the hills, the houses are not that big. They're the same as houses anywhere in the US, they just cost 20 times as much. Yeah, I know, there is like, you know, there are like more modest celebrities out there who do, you know, keep it real, so to speak. And yeah, they are just very expensive. And it depends where they are. You know, in the hills in particular, pretty much all the houses there are massive, but that's just because it's one of those areas that is made so that people with extremely high incomes can live there. But, you know, I'm not of the mindset that every single celebrity wants to live in opulence with a massive surplus of bedrooms that they're never going to use. I mean, some people are like that, but let me put it this way, like if I ever, you know, somehow miraculously got like multi-millionaire rich or something like that, I wouldn't move into a mansion. What's the fucking point? Like even if I had my whole family living there, like I wouldn't move into a mansion just because like, you know, I gotta clean all this shit, right? I don't have to walk so far just to do very basic things. Walk 300 feet just to use the bathroom. Okay, so let me measure this out. I can always appreciate a celebrity who doesn't use their wealth to like show off or anything. So like someone needs to tell some people, like, you know, just because you're rich doesn't mean that you need a mansion, right? So I get the feeling some people think that it just goes with the territory. Like, hey, I'm rich now, better get me one of those mansions. Okay. This is hard for me because I'm bored is worlds away from every day of my life is risk because I need to work at the grocery store. Yeah, I mean, you know, I will admit, like, when I say this stuff, there is a lot of privilege that I'm speaking from. A lot of people found that era to be hell because they didn't have a choice whether they go out or not. My wife in particular, like, you know, she actually was doing an immense amount of COVID testing during that point. You know, she had to handle a lot of those tests to the point where it ended up physically harming her. You know, started developing issues with her wrist, with her fingers. She was getting inflammation constantly, which is only, sorry?
I think it triggered the start of my autoimmune stuff.
Yeah, it's believed now that that was like the kind of, that activity paired with the stress and everything was what triggered the beginnings of her autoimmune issues. So, you know, I've got someone very close to home that was harmed by it. My dad basically has no immune system because after he got cancer back in 2007, they had to like take out his thyroid completely. So we had to, or my family at home had to take the steps necessary to basically keep my dad fully quarantined from people. And that's like the first time in his life that he's worked from home because he had no choice. He couldn't go outside. He doesn't have an immune system. So yeah, you know, it's all depending on your privilege. With my experience, I admit I had it good to my extent because I was already like working from home and everything. Because that was like around the time when YouTube started kicking off. But yeah, for a lot of other people, lockdown was no joke. If I got millions of dollars tomorrow, I would buy a super reasonable 2-bedroom house, to be honest, and donate the rest. Yeah, like, just live within your means. That's all you gotta do. Like I said, no one needs a mansion. I will forever reiterate that point. No one needs a mansion. Like, if you're gonna give a mansion to anyone, like, just give it to a bunch of unhoused people, you know? Let them live there. They can have it as like one nice big community. Let's see if I can scrape together one more cookie. Oh god, it's getting lukewarm. That's it. Oh, there we go. I shouldn't be holding this in my hand because it will dissolve. Just trying to scrape some of the batter off the bowl. Might be able to get one small cookie. But yeah, so I did say something a moment ago about enjoying the lockdown, which you didn't particularly appreciate. I am sorry about that. But like I said, I do fully understand that it wasn't a walk in the park for everyone. It was more the cultural aspects, I guess, that I enjoyed, like the beautiful amounts of cringe. Okay, that is not going to be a very shapely cookie dough ball because it started to melt, of course. All right, let me wash my hands once again, and then we can put these in the oven. God, it's everywhere. Okay. So yeah, like I said, we're going to put one inside the main oven and then one inside the Ninja countertop oven / air fryer. And if you don't have an air fryer yet, you should get one. Live that air fryer life. It'll change everything. It's going to take about 10-12 minutes. $375. And these things preheat super quick. It's great. Gordon Ramsay, he makes his kids fly coach. Yeah, like if you're gonna be like, you know, if you're a celebrity and you have kids, like, you know, I think like I'd have to do my best to like keep them humble, because there's nothing worse in this world than just having like, well, nothing worse in this world, but being like someone that's wealthy and just bringing up absolute spoiled arseholes of children, like, you need to watch Succession just to see what the consequences of something like that is. I mean, it's hard not to. You know, you've got these kids, giving them an immense amount of wealth from the moment they were born and expecting them to be normal human beings that meld in with the rest of society. It's harder than people think. But it's still worth the effort, which a lot of people simply don't do. Gordon Ramsay is really quite nice, just don't be an incompetent personal chef. Yeah, from what I've heard, Gordon Ramsay actually isn't that bad of a person. He just puts it on for the camera like Kitchen Nightmares. Alright, when that's ready, that'll be ready too. I don't need to set another timer. I enjoyed that usual lifestyle, not going out ever, and not being super sociable, were not seen as weird for once. Yeah, that's kind of the thing I enjoyed about it too, because, you know, as someone with social anxiety, especially when it comes to spending time with people face to face, it's always been a very daunting thing. So finally, having a rock solid excuse of saying like, actually, I'm gonna stay home, wonderful. And also I like being able to wear a mask as well, because one, I have always felt that the Japanese had it right by wearing a mask when you have a cold or a flu or whatever it might be. That should have always been a thing, not just for COVID. And I'm glad now that there is less of a, you know, weird stigma about people wearing masks in public, because it will keep people ultimately healthier. But on another level, on a interpersonal level, I'm not a big fan of like smiling in general. Like, let me explain. It's like when it comes to just like talking to like a, you know, at a cashier at a supermarket or something like that. If they make like some kind of like little joke or something like that, like usually it's a case where like you just go along with it, you give them a laugh, even if you didn't think much about it, and then you're just like, you know, yeah. At least with the face mask, I could be like, yeah, and not make any expression for it. It felt nice. I don't know what it is. Could be an autism thing for all I know. I'm sure I'm on the spectrum somewhere. I've never had a diagnosis, but from what my therapist has told me, quite a lot lines up with it. I should probably look into that one day. I can get a Ninja air fryer with my air miles, should I? Absolutely, yes. There is a very good thing to spend your air miles on. This is the DT250, I think. We were after one specifically with the, you know, flip down door and everything. It does an amazing job with frozen pizzas. Oof. And it is fantastic for reheating too. I still like wearing my mask. I'm always cold and it keeps my face warm. Yeah, it's nice for that. It's not so great in the summer. I will say I remember that, not with much fondness. But yeah, in those colder months, very nice. Internal heating. All right, while this is getting ready, I am just gonna go take a quick break. How long? 7 minutes. I won't be 7 minutes, but I'm going to take a few minutes, and after that we shall have some cookies that will need to cool down a bit. But yeah, I'll be back in 3 or 4 minutes or so. All right, we are nearly ready. Got 1 minute 20 odd seconds left. Ah, my my wife had the volume cranked again. I can't cope with hearing myself. Okay. I risk getting sick every time I get blood work or see a doctor. I need to see a lot of doctors. I'm a weenie. Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed. A lot of doctor surgeries still don't get that many people wearing masks. Which of all the places, that will be the one that you hope. Even my dentist wore a mask more than my doctor, I think. My rheumatologist was great about it though. He was like, we're doctors, what the fuck? Paraphrased, of course. Well, at least they're on board with you there, yeah. Good to see. Last time I got my blood drawn, I thanked the nurse for wearing a mask. See, I've even like gone, when like we were deep in it, like there were times there when like if someone wasn't wearing a mask, like I went through a drive-through once, and I can't remember which restaurant it was, but I went through a drive-through and the guy there wasn't wearing a mask as he's, you know, talking to different people every single time the car pulls up. And I asked him like if he could wear a mask. And honestly, like in a situation like that, I think it's fine to lie about something. So I said I'm immunocompromised because, you know, even if I am lying, fuck it. What does he know? And it's helping someone else out. So I just said to him like direct, said, hi, could you put a mask on please? Like, you know, I'm a bit vulnerable to it. And luckily it did without complaint. But, you know, there's plenty of people out there who are more than happy to complain about that kind of thing. All right, let's see. I think these are good. And the one here. Whoa. I'm steamed up my glasses. I'm gonna give that one about a minute. And I'm gonna let these ones sit inside here just so they can cool or stay warm from the ambient temperature. But yeah, we'll give that a minute just because they gotta be a bit brown around the edges. Unfortunately, I won't be able to give a close-up view of these today because like my phone camera thing isn't working, because usually I have OBS connected to my phone through the camera, but yeah, it's not having it today. Let me test it again just in case. I'm starting residency this summer and I just got blood work done this morning. They still wear masks, which is great. I almost passed out from them taking 6 vials. Jesus Christ. There's a vampire working there? Also, congratulations on a residency. I know that's a big deal. Did you forget to look at my second picture? Ah, I forgot, yeah. Once I get these out, we'll get that sorted. So like I said, these have to cool for about 15 minutes or so. So, let's see. These ones are good. Do I have a surface to put these down on? No. Okay, that'll do. And these ones we will leave over here for a bit. Okay.
Just grab the red thing that's next to you.
Oh yeah. Okay. How can we get a good shot of these? So yeah, my version on my phone isn't connecting right now. Let me think. Because I can't really detach the camera either. Let's try the overhead camera, see if I can maneuver that around a bit. Let's see. I think the ones that came from the main oven look much better, but here we go. Is that in focus? Nice bit of shadow on there, very moody. But yeah, we'll let them sit for a bit, just so that they can cool down. Generally you want to eat these completely cooled, just so they have a proper texture in them. But what we're going to do is, once they are cooled down, we're just going to give them a nice dusting of powdered sugar on top of it. You don't have to. The cookies are perfectly fine as they are. but powdered sugar adds that little bit of sweetness to them, and it makes them look nicer. So where's me powdered sugar? Here we go. And also, if you do want to sprinkle powdered sugar, you can just take a pinch of it and do it over that. But much better to use something like a sieve. Just put like, I don't know, 2 teaspoons of powdered sugar inside of it. Tap it over it. It's much more even, much more uniform than sprinkling it with your hand. Because yeah, powdered sugar contains cornstarch inside of it, which makes it clump very easily. So let me put these overhead lights on again. Much like the cocoa, icing sugar unfortunately suffers from a horrible case of hydrophobia in 2024. I know I recycled that joke, but I'm fine with it. It's a decent joke. You mean you don't immediately try to eat them when they're too hot out of the oven? As much as I would like to. I mean, they're probably fine when they're still hot on the inside. I mean, when I made them the other day, we did have one which was pretty warm, but it's like, you know, it's all a texture thing. Stuff with cream cheese in it does need to get like either cold or just below room temperature to be really nice. Kind of like cheesecake, you know? It's one of those things that is always better when it sets. In my experience, most people will wear one if you just ask and provide one. That's true, yeah. Most people are more amenable than we like to think. And yeah, that's why it's always good to ask. In fact, my wife mentioning that thing earlier as well about her mother going into the hospital, it reminds me of another thing that her mother told us about, where my mother-in-law, she went into a store, can't remember which one it was, it doesn't matter, but the grocery store? Okay, she was at the grocery store. She was waiting at the checkout. I think it was a self-checkout thing. And she ended up going to the store while wearing a mask. And there was this other woman that queued up behind her, and she was wearing a mask. And this woman just taps on my mother-in-law's shoulder and bear in mind, she's very close at this point. You know, they're in a queue. There's no 6 feet distance anymore. Taps my mother-in-law on the shoulder, and she, from the sounds of it, very excitedly said, "Oh, do you have COVID too?" Like, twinsies? Why would you say that? Like, why on earth would you announce to someone that you have COVID? Like, look at us, we're being bad girls out in public, spreading a virus around. I swear if that happened to me, I'd just like, okay, I need to push you right now, and I think I'm perfectly valid in doing something like that. Where's my cookie? Right here. Yeah, we're gonna wait about 5 minutes, just for them to cool down a bit, then I'm gonna transfer them to a wire rack, just so they can cool down more efficiently. God, my back's hurting. I want to make these. Yeah, I'll post the recipe for them, let's say in the food channel of the Discord, once I'm done here. Oh yeah, let me check out that other illustration I did too. Sugar and butter. Now that's a show I'd watch. It's very cute. I like that. Very nice. Thank you very much. Let me, actually, I have this recipe on hand. 1 second. Yeah, because my wife was the one that sent this to me originally, because she wanted me to make them. Because at first I was just going to make apple crumble on stream, which I will make on the next baking stream. I even bought the apples for it in advance, but then people decided, no, we want these instead. But yeah, we were going to make apple crumble at first, which apple crumble is really wonderful. It's like, basically apple pie, you know, the pie filling inside of it. So it's very cinnamony, lots of nutmeg, brown sugar, except instead of the pie crust on the top of it, it is kind of like pastry crumbs, I guess. It's really simple mixture. It's just like sugar, flour, and butter, just like blended up to look kind of like breadcrumbs, like that. But it's very nice, very sweet. And you pour custard over it as well, which my wife is a huge fan of custard, so she's been hankering for this for a while. So yeah, that'll be next on the agenda when it comes to baking. It's been a good while since I made one, and it's super, super easy as well. Alright, I posted the recipe in the Foodies channel on the Discord if you want to have a look. And yeah, if you want to give it a try, if you want to try making these things, it is dirt easy to make them. So if you do want to make them, please post them in the Discord when you're done, and let me know what you think of them too, because one of the easiest, nicest recipes out there. Let's just care about each other. That's a novel idea. Yeah, that's all. You just gotta look after each other, you know. Pay attention to other people's needs. Try to accommodate them. Simple as that, really. You know, thousands upon thousands of years of human civilization, and still that's a weird concept for some people to wrap their head around. Caring about someone other than me? Woo-hoo. I guess my experience is mostly with local events like clothing swaps, theatre productions, etc. There's a lot of high traffic stuff. Can only imagine it was between my teeth. Well, you know, if you make them, you won't even have to imagine. The only way to truly know if a cookie is too hot is to try and eat it and burn your mouth. There's no other way. That might be true. But, you know, think about it this way. If you end up eating a cookie when it's too hot, it's too unpalatable, then you potentially end up depriving yourself of a really nice cookie that would have been better when it's cooler. Instead, you've had a agonizingly hot experience instead. It's really a metaphor about patience. It's kind of like the burning, it's kind of like the red hot pizza stuff, you know? You take a bite of a pizza because you're so eager to get into it, scalds the roof of your mouth, and the next thing you know, you just, it takes away enjoyment from the rest of the pizza because all you can think about is this horrible pain on the roof of your mouth. The day's ruined. I have a bag of icing sugar I don't know what to do with. Get some heavy cream or whipping cream. Put a cup of whipping cream into a bowl with either an electric mixer or a stand mixer. Then you can put about 2 or 3 tablespoons of this into it and just keep whipping it until you get lovely fresh whipped cream. And you can do that over and over again. You can also make icing pretty easily with it as well if you have corn syrup. Just some of that. Say about a cup of this, 2 tablespoons of corn syrup, and however many tablespoons of milk that you need with it. Similar to the recipe I made when I did the icing cookies on that. Although I will say do use more milk than what I did. I really needed to thin out that icing that I made because when I was squeezing that icing bag, I didn't realize how thick it was until the next day after the stream, because my hand, my right hand in particular, because of all of that squeezing of like making the shapes and letters and numbers, my right hand really hurt for the past few days after that. It didn't go away quickly. Let me put it that way. I have carpal tunnel, you know, I have flare-ups, so yeah, that flared it up quite a bit. Don't listen to me, I have poor impulse controls with cookies. You'll burn your mouth, it will not be worth it. I'll try my best, yet I do it every single time. I mean, maybe one day you'll learn. And that day, you know, will be a valuable experience. Fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. Fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on... I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm hungry. I want to eat these fucking cookies. Saw someone online talking about cream cheese on matzo, so I had to try it. Also tried Nutella, that was a winner. Nutella is just like, add it to anything, and it's great. You can just, it wins in all respect. All right, let's see. Okay, they're cooling down a bit now. Let me get out some wire racks. I remember when I was younger and I used to have those commercials for Nutella that basically tried to market them as a health food of sorts. I'm off for today. Have a nice rest of your day, everyone. Regen, thank you very much for showing up. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend as well. Because, yeah, that's just around the corner, isn't it? But yeah, thank you very much for showing up, Regen. Greatly appreciated. All right, we got our racks. Now, could do with a spatula. Where's my glove? Okay. Get these 4 first. We'll do the overhead. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I only need 1 rack. I don't know why I brought out 2. How is it? There we go. Nicely browned at the bottom of them. That's when you know that it's good. It's probably a little bit too browned on this one, but it should still be fine. Actually, I don't need a spatula. Cooling down nice and quickly. Okay, that's this one. And here is our main oven batch. Let me just move this wire rack. Okay. These are good and cool too. Nicely browned at the bottom of them. The first batch that I made of these didn't have a decent amount of browning at the bottom. Not sure why, but I did leave these a little bit longer.
I wonder if the texture will be different.
I'm curious too, yeah. My wife was just saying, wonder if the texture will be different. I think they might be. We shall see soon enough. Then we just need to give it about maybe 5-10 more minutes until they're cooled down properly. But with these cookies, I think if you want the optimal texture from it, you probably have to wait about an hour or so after you finish baking them. Oh yeah, and if you do like baking cookies, silicone mats are very cheap, but a very good investment. Don't use them for macarons though. Learn that the hard way. Alright, but there's our batch. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. 16. Less than I expected. Maybe they're a bit larger than I anticipated. Just clean the excess off this. And silicone mats basically just wipe clean as long as you've not got anything too messy on there. Is this on? Okay, that's fine. Alright, so there is our completed batch. I wish I could give you a better camera view at it, but yeah. Can I... Let's see. Ugh. There we go. I guess that counts. So I'm trying not to adjust too much with a tripod just so I can just put it back and not have any issues with the angle or anything. right. Give them a bit of a waft. Gotta go lead a training for my team. Enjoy your cookies. This was a wonderfully chill way to spend a bit of a Friday. Well, thank you very much, Imperial Young. Always appreciate you having here. Hope to see you next time. Good luck with your training. Enjoy your weekend. Okay. Yes, it is a Friday. Doesn't feel like it though. Let's see. Don't really want to put these in the fridge just to speed it up because that can mess with the texture as well. Actually, is it cool enough? No. I'm gonna say I might have had time to sprinkle the top with the icing sugar, but it's better to be patient. I actually did sprinkle the last batch that I made while it was still warm, but even though it felt dry on top, there was still a decent amount of moisture still locked into them, so all that powdered sugar just dissolved, which gave it a nice sweet layer on the top of it, but you know. Do you mind if I put the pictures on Instagram? No, absolutely, good. Be my guest. I don't mind people doing that at all. Okay. I'm getting very impatient. I'm very hungry, and I have a selection of delicious cookies in front of me. This will be mine since I'm blowing on it. Can you imagine doing that during a pandemic? People lose their fucking mind. Always temperature check with the back of your hand to decide if your cookie has a fever. Yeah, good advice. I use either the back of my hand or the back of my fingertips, usually just past this knuckle. But yeah, still too warm. Oh well. I'll tell you what, if we're going to kill some time in the time being, tell me a joke, someone. Even if you tell me a joke that you know, or find a joke on Google, whatever you want to do, and the winner will get a cookie somehow. Well, let me, actually, while I'm waiting, let me get my guitar so I can tune it up a bit. I've got to kill a few minutes here. And then, unfortunately, I'll have to cap off the stream there because I need to get some dinner. Because I'm famished. Where's my pick? There we go. This is a show. No, it's always been a show. I will tell a joke in return as well. Alright. Alright, tell you what. I'll give my joke first. Which one's a good one? Alright. A quick joke, but one of my favorites. What do you call a deaf gorilla? Whatever you want, he can't hear you. The YouTube copyright system? No kidding. Sounds good. Your guitar matches your cookies. That's true, actually. Yeah, this antique white. Okay. Got to see Guitari play. Guitari. There's a new one. Got to see Salari play. Yes. Unplugged. I don't know, maybe something. That's the thing, whenever it comes to stuff like that, I always just get like feeling like, you know, no one wants to see me play. So I always just pass, or, you know, go past the idea of like playing in front of people on my stream or anything like that. Probably a self-confidence thing. Alright. Guitari, yeah. Never thought about that until now. My name is a hard one to pun with. Okay. You know what, these should be alright. I'll tell you what, just, you know, for the sake of cosmetic purposes, for the people watching this stream, I will dust a couple of them rather than them all, just so we can, you know, see what it ends up looking like. I wish I had nicer plates to present these on, because otherwise it's just going to look very white. Okay. So we'll take a couple, and do this one, and this one. You know, we'll do 3, why not? Yeah, as you can see, there's a nice bumpy texture on the top of it, that camera, nice bumpy little texture on the top of it. It's very smooth, very dainty in its texture. Alright. Okay. So, like I said, you just need a sieve. You can also get like the mini sieves as well, which, you know, are made specifically for sprinkling or sieving a small amount of things. Okay, just get a spoon. I'll do the overhead. Yep, so, like I said, I mean, this one I'm not even going to put a full teaspoon over it, it's so small. So I just put it in there, hold it at a decent height, and just give it a light tap on the edges. I like to have a nice, decent coating, fairly, not thick, but a generous coating of icing sugar on things. All right. And of course, I got icing sugar all over the counter. Yay. Okay. And here we go. That is our cream cheese cookies. We will take a bite out of one of those in a moment. Would you like a cookie, dear? You would?
Just want to bite.
Okay. Wipe this up real quick. That somehow stuck on immediately. That's weird. Deal with you later. Okay. So, test time. Let's see. I think I'm supposed to clean the bathroom. I should definitely practice. Yes, practice, practice, practice. Okay, so let's give this a try. As I said, these are still a little bit warm, but it should be good enough by now. This one. It's so good. You don't need milk for these, and these are perfect as is. Maybe like, it'd probably pair well with like a good cup of tea or coffee, something like that. Something warm, something for the comfort factor, you know. It is not fully set in the middle yet. So there is like a bit of a, looks a bit like moisture inside of it. But once it does set, it will look more like cakey in texture inside of it. But yeah, this is, like I said, it's very delicate, very soft inside of this one. It's not a crunch or anything like that to it. It's really, really wonderful. And as I mentioned earlier, very, very simple to make as well. Like this was what, 5 ingredients, 6 ingredients, something like that. Stuff that you probably have around your house anyway. Yeah, it is truly nice. I tried this for the first time the other day when I did a test run for it. It's easily one of my favorite cookies now. What's comforting, I'm eating Doritos. I mean, hey, I fucking love Doritos, I won't lie. Cheesy Doritos, ooh. Paul Hollywood voice, the crack. The crack. His Liverpudlian accent. Yeah, it's like a very delicate shell on the outside of it too. Hard to describe the texture right now, but like I said, once it fully cools down, that's when the really nice part of the texture comes in. It's nice like this right now, but you know, it's not at its full power level yet. I was planning on just taking a bite, but fuck it, I'm going all in on this. Give me a Hollywood handshake. Which, now that I think about it, a Hollywood handshake kind of sounds like a sex thing. Tell me one thing that caught your interest today.
What are you looking at me for?
I don't know. I thought you were looking at me to sort of like jog my memory or something.
No.
Okay. Nothing I can think of really. To be honest, I've just been so busy. I've been too busy getting the stream together that I haven't really raised my head up to look at anything else. You tell me something that caught your interest. Put the most difficult things first, get them out of the way. Yep, absolutely. If you feel overwhelmed by stuff, get the difficult out of the way. Get the difficult stuff out of the way first, and don't think of it as one big thing to do. You break them down into individual tasks and take them one by one. And you know, it's like chipping away at something rather than going at it with one big swing. Birdie birthday. Ooh. Any special plans? I'm learning all along the watchtower to have to impress the teacher. That's a fun song to learn. I don't remember how to play it anymore, but I did learn it at one point. But yeah, that was a very fun song to learn. That and Voodoo Child. Like Voodoo Child was like one of my earlier songs, probably the first song that I ever learned that had jazz chords in it. So that was a very unique experience. And then I learned like the solo was part of it. Yeah, it's weird. Like at one point in my life, like I was really big into Jimi Hendrix, and at some point I just kind of went off it. I kind of went off classic rock as a whole, to be honest with you. It might be the fact that I just worked in a guitar store and I couldn't escape from classic rock. You know, I have to hear like AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Jimi Hendrix, like all day long. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Familiarity breeds contempt, and it happens even with the things that you love sometimes. I think my partner has something planned, but he's being mysterious, which is pretty new for him. Ooh. You could always try and torture him to get the information out of him. Food for thought. Yes, happy early birthday if I don't see you before then. Mine was last Sunday. Well, congratulations. I hope you had a good one. I gotta wait until November for mine. And my wife's was not too long ago. Her birthday was March 20th. Where they had a shitload of crab for dinner. And because I don't like eating crab or crustaceans as a whole, I was just like sat there with some fried chicken, watching these barbarians crack all these shells and everything, just suck out the meats from inside. Grotesque, truly. I'm supposed to be writing my thesis, so everything suddenly catches my interest. Now it's Rings of Power's nuanced approach to evil/darkness. That does happen. That's the ADHD life, unfortunately. A new thing comes along and suddenly it is everything you can pay attention to. Please, he already lives with me. Isn't that torture enough? Fair enough. I get where you're coming from. What time is it now? 5:06. Okay. So yeah, these cheesecake cups. Oh yeah. Do you want a bite of one? You there? Do you want a bite of one? Okay. Let me hand one off to my wife. She can give her verdict. It is a bit different from last time.
It's fluffier.
Mm-hmm. But that one looks a bit more baked through than the other one. It's not... That's... Thank you for laughing at my pain. That's the thing with these. If you bite into it while it's still warm, it will feel like it's underbaked. Because like I said, it is quite moist on the inside. But once it cools down, it will feel properly baked. It will have that texture. But yeah, if baking is a wonderful thing, all of you should give it a try. If you're ever bored, don't know what to do, if you want to do something nice for yourself or the people in your life, give it a shot. There's a reason why I preach about the joys of doing this, and it's because it's genuine. You know, it's something I really love doing. So give it a shot, honestly. You will not regret it. And if you fail, just try again. It's really that simple. Eventually, failure will be something that becomes encouragement to keep trying again and again, just like with any kind of artistic thing, really. I feel I have to defend the... I feel like that... You know, on the YouTube chat thing, there's like that emote that's right next to the bottom line. It blocks the bottom line for me. I feel like I have to defend the slurpy seashells. Slurpy seashells? Have I missed something? Oh, the crab. Oh, okay. Oh, ooh. That completely went over my head. But yeah, if you do try making these, please share it in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, here is the link to it. Everyone is welcome. Just pick your pronouns when you start out, and then you can join. Lots of wonderful people in that server. In fact, many of them are talking right now. But yeah, if you do make them, or if you make anything else that I've done, post a picture of it. I always really enjoy seeing other people's efforts when it comes to baking. In fact, those cheesecake brownies that I made a little while back, I think it was Rowan, tried making them themselves. And yeah, those look fantastic. They really did. But yeah, I think I will wrap it up here since mission complete. Let's play the special music to outro with. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. This has been a wonderful stream. I always greatly appreciate whenever people show up to these baking streams because it's something I genuinely enjoy doing. I realize that there's 2 pieces of music running right now, so that is probably kind of confusing. Do you want to pause Spotify for me, please? 1 sec. There we go. I tried pressing pause on this thing. It did not work. But anyway, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you do have a wonderful weekend. I hope you do something fun, or at the very least, I hope you're able to relax. Take care of yourselves. Watch the new video if you haven't already. You can find the link up in the chat that's pinned right now. And yeah, thank you. That's all I have to say. Enjoy the rest of your free time. Take it easy. Bye-bye.